So here we are, we're back in the Zoe. It is fixed. But not without a little bit of hassle along the way. So let's get into exactly what happened. So for those of you who have been following the saga of the Zoe, you may remember that we had a problem where we couldn't charge the car. Now, we did a little bit of testing ourselves and we found that we could charge the car if we used the CCS rapid charging. So we weren't completely scuppered. This is the 2020 50 with rapid charge. So it can charge, it's 52 kilowatt hour battery. It's the latest Zoe. And we found that we couldn't charge on our normal AC charging here. We had another electric car, so we knew that it wasn't the charge point here. We took it to Tesco's, we used a pod point charger. It wouldn't charge there either. So we were pretty convinced that it was a problem with the car. Now, we've had it back for a little while now because I didn't want to make a video where it then went wrong again. But it's suffices to say Renault did a lot of work to this car to get it back up and working. Now, the problem is that, or the problem was really that it was a bit of back and forth before they did what they did. So my wife took the car to Renault at Lowestoft, which is where we bought the car, which is who's been servicing the car. They're pretty good, but we took it there the first time and they couldn't see any fault codes with it, which was a pain. You know, then they gave us a loaner car. We went back and forth a couple of times. They then eventually found some fault codes with the car, and they diagnosed a fault with a cable inside the electric motor. So we then had the loaner car because and it was a Zoe, so we had an electric loaner car, which was great because we didn't have to worry about petrol or anything. They ordered this part for the electric motor, and it was away for about 4 weeks whilst they basically took the electric motor out of the car, stripped it down and changed this cable because apparently this cable was high resistance. It was, you know, not working properly, damaged or manufacturer fault. This is quite an early Zoe, and I have heard someone else I knew had one of these cars and they had a more catastrophic failure of the electric motor, and they were sort of left stranded, and I think a similar issue. They had to, you know, basically have the motor changed or have a part of the motor changed to bring it back to life. So I'm quite glad that we weren't left stranded. We were just not able to charge. But then when it came back, then it all seemed to be working fine, except my wife went out one day and it made this massive vibration. And as soon as that happened, she phoned them and they said, don't drive it. This was pretty shortly after the car had come back from the garage. So immediately my head went to, okay, well, maybe they haven't just tightened something up in the you know, not some other thing that they had to mess around with to get the engine out, or to get the motor out. So it went on a trailer. So the Renault Assist came out, which was basically the RAC, I think, or the AA. Put it on the back of a trailer, towed it up to Lowestoft, and then apparently they couldn't find anything wrong with it. So I went up there with my wife, picked the car up, I drove it back, gave it a bit of a, you know, Italian tune-up, just to see whether I could see anything wrong with it. Did some, you know, went on some roads, did some emergency stops in some quiet locations just to see if it was anything to do with the braking system or anything like that. So, you know, who knows, right? Because I could not find anything wrong with this car, and we've had it back for probably another 4 weeks now, and I haven't been able to find anything wrong with it. We've both been driving it, and it's been fine ever since. So either the vibration was maybe something on the road that we didn't, you know, she didn't see, or maybe it was something, but they just didn't want to admit it, and, you know, they fixed it and then just claimed they didn't know. We will never know. But, you know, it doesn't give you a huge amount of confidence when, you know, you get one of those events and then, you know, they can't find anything wrong with it. So at least the fault that it went in for has been fixed, which is great. We still don't intend on keeping this car because of the airbag issue, airbag gate. But right now, with the cost of living crisis and all of the rest of the stuff going on, I don't really think there's that much alternative right now to keeping it, unless we want to spend some more money, which is not, I don't want to spend any more money. The closest thing that we can see at the moment is the new MG4, which we have had a look at. My wife hates it. I don't mind it, actually. I think it looks all right, and the interior space is much bigger than the Zoe. The boot is kind of there or thereabouts. It doesn't have a frunk, which is odd because it's rear-wheel drive. So why they haven't put a frunk in on that model anyway? I have heard they're going to put a dual motor version in, but these aren't. So put a frunk in, for God's sake. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, but that works out probably. I think it's about another £30 a month. On top of what we're paying for this one, and every time I look at second-hand EVs, you know, they're still a lot of money, and you're not getting a lot of range for the money, and obviously older cars have got their own safety issues as well, so we wouldn't go that much older. Probably like a 40 kilowatt Leaf. We've had one before, they're fine, but you know, they're still a fair bit of money. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, we don't use it that much either. So again, we don't want to spend a load of money on something we're not using that much, because we've now got the MG, and that is great. But in terms of this car, it is fixed. So I just thought I'd put a bit of video together, just letting you know it's fixed and letting you know what was wrong with it. So there was a fault. There was a fault with the electric motor. And from what I can understand, they've had to have the whole motor apart to fix what the problem was. So that is it. It is fixed, but the saga of the Zoe continues because we don't necessarily want to keep the car. So it is a case of, what do we do now? Maybe you have an option out there that I haven't considered. Don't know. Yeah, what should we get? Don't want to go back to petrol or diesel. Do want to stay with an electric car. Don't necessarily need the range that this has. This has got a 240, 250 mile range. We could easily go down to something with less range, because we've got a car sitting right there which has got bags of range. So let me know in the comments, what would you do? What would you do for your second car now that the Renault has been exiled to the Hall of Shame for its airbagness? What is the car that you would choose as your second EV these days? Second hand or new? Preferably second hand, because I don't really need two brand new cars. Just one to run around when one of us has got the other car. Is all we really need. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.